The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to Great Garment Graphics Online. I'm Mel Mibers. I will be your host today. Today's webinar is Plug into Profits. All you need is a heat press and custom transfers. And our webinar today is sponsored by Stahl's Transfer Express. And our special guest speaker today is Stephanie Penza. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Happy Earth Day.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, well, we're ready to get started here. I just want to mention to everybody, if you have any questions today, please type them into the question box. And if we don't get to your question today, the staff at Transfer Express will be sending you an email with the answers. All right, Stephanie, I need to turn this over to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll just take me a moment here.
Sure. There we go.
Yeah, now we see your screen.
Okay, great. All right, ready to get started?
We are ready.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today we are going to plug into profits, and all you need to do that is start with a heat press and custom transfers. Today we're going to be talking about heat presses and give you a little bit of an introduction to the heat press and how you can start choosing which heat press is going to be right for your business. Also, we'll talk about how your heat press can help you make money using custom transfers, and also why it's important to have a quality heat press to use in your business. It is easy to get started in the decorating business because all it does need is a heat press. It doesn't take a lot of education to use one, whereas if you're getting started into a decorating method like screen printing or embroidery, there's a lot of training, a lot of education that is involved with starting up a business with all that equipment and going through the education process. So using a heat press is one of the easiest ways to get started, and custom transfers is an easy way to get your graphics and be able to apply them in a few seconds and pass that off, that time saving off to your customer too. So there are a couple of heat presses that we're going to talk about today. One over here is the Swinger. It's made by Hotronix. We also have an auto clam that is a little bit more space saving if you're working in a smaller area. And there's another more economical heat press called the Max Press that we'll also go over, and also one of the newer presses released by Hotronix this year called the Fusion. So we're going to take a closer look at some of those presses.
By the way, that picture there is not Stephanie, everyone. So.
Although I probably look similar.
No.
So, okay, let's get started. A little bit about Transfer Express. We do screen printed transfers, and we also have a couple of digital transfers, and they are applied with a heat press onto different garments such as t-shirts and hoodies and jackets and mouse pads and a whole lot of stuff the transfers will go on. If you're just starting up, you can run a small business with just using a heat press. You can get customers from local schools or businesses. Those are the biggest customers when you're working with schools, because you got you got sports teams, you got clubs, you've got parents of the sports players, you got a whole lot of people that are wanting custom shirts. The transfers here, the one here is screen printed transfer. It's going to give you the same quality and durability as screen printing, because that's basically what we do. We are a screen printer, but instead of applying it directly screen printing onto the garment, we screen print it onto a release paper, usually in a mirror image, so then it can be transferred onto the garment with a heat press. So it is going to give you the exact same quality and durability as screen printing. All right, so if we want to start with our first poll, Mel,
Okay.
We can get some questions going.
Okay. The first question, if you don't mind, just take a moment here to answer. Do you have a heat press? And there's 3 choices there. If you just select one of those, we'd greatly appreciate that. Stephanie, can you see that?
I cannot see the poll, no.
Okay. And we'll just give a few more seconds here. All right, I'll go ahead and close and share with everyone. Question was again, do you have a heat press? Yes, I own a heat press and I'm looking for a new press, 61%. Yes, I own a heat press expanding and need another press, 21%. No, just getting started and have not purchased a press yet, 18%.
Okay. Well, today's webinar will be going over, some of the specifics about the heat presses. So for those of you that are looking into getting a new heat press or, haven't gotten started yet and are looking for a heat press, we'll go over some useful tips and some information for you. Okay, so let's start talking about some of the specifics of a heat press. So what is a heat press? Now, a heat press is a machine that's used to imprint a design onto a substrate such as t-shirts and sweatshirts, like I had explained before, but it uses a combination of temperature, pressure, and time control. So all three things there are very important when you're applying a design onto a garment using the heat press. Now, this is a heat press here, and this is an auto clam by Hotronix. Over here, you'll see the control panel. This is where the time and temperature is set. The clam, then you pull this handle down here. The heat press, the heating element, is stored in this top platen here, which comes down onto the transfer, and then is applied to the transfer. Then is applied to the garment using the heating element there. So really easy to use. Very easy setup and everything. But there are three different types of heat presses, subcategories of heat presses. We have manual presses that requires you to manually close the heat press, and then once that time is up, once that time is done counting down, we manually open it. So it requires a little bit of effort on the user's part. The next type of heat press is a semi-automatic heat press, and this requires you to manually close the heat press, but a mechanism is there to open that up, and that is released once that time is up. So there's semi-automatic presses, and then there's also an automatic press that is, everything is automatic. It automatically closes using buttons, and then it automatically opens once that time is done. So it requires little effort on the part of the user. So it doesn't matter actually what, to the finished garment once you're done, which one of these subcategories you use, whether it's a manual, a semi-automatic, or an automatic press. It just makes it a little bit more user-friendly when you're using a more automatic press. Users with certain handicaps or those that are not able to fully use a manual press, makes it a little bit more easier, more easy if you're using a semi-automatic press or an automatic press. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide here. So let's talk about some of the main components of a heat press. Here is a Hotronix Max Press, and all of the main components of the heat presses are pretty much standard from one heat press to another. And the heat presses will start off here with the upper or what we call the top platen here, and that actually is where the heating element is stored, right in this area. Some specific things to look for in the heating element is a pressure adjustment. So you'll have the pressure adjustment located on the top platen. And you want to make sure that the pressure adjustment is going to give you even pressure throughout the entire platen. So the pressure adjustment is very, very important to have over the center there. Also the heat. The heating coils are inside of that heat platen. So you want a heat press that's going to have those heat coils as close together as possible to eliminate any cold spots. And by cold spots, I mean if there's an area of that top platen that isn't getting enough heat to it, the transfer then is not going to apply to the garment properly. And you may have some instances where the ink is not actually adhering to the fabric. So we want to make sure that you're getting a heat press that has the heat coils very close together, and that is going to eliminate cold spots. So you want to make sure there are no cold spots, or a guaranteed no cold spot heat press. This top platen also has a Teflon coating at the top here. And the Teflon coating is, basically covering this heat press. And what that does is, just like your pots and pans have a Teflon coating that makes it easier for them to be cleaned, this heat press is able to be cleaned very easily too. If you happen to apply a transfer on upside down, or you accidentally get some excess adhesive on that top platen, it's easier to wipe down and clean off with that Teflon coating. So that's really important in a heat press. You want to keep that nice and clean. Also with this top platen here is the heating element warranty, and that's very important, trying to stick with a warranty that's going to last you a long time with the heat press, preferably a lifetime warranty on the heating element, because that is the most important part. And also the lower platen. The lower platen there is at the bottom. It has a even flat surface that we can lay the garment on, very important. And some specific components to look for in that is the silicone bottom pad, which is going to allow you to be able to print fronts and backs of shirts a lot easier without having to mess up, the front or the back of the shirt when you go to press it. And that silicone allows for that. And also interchangeable platens. And what that means is that that bottom platen here is able to be removed. So there are two little bolts underneath here. It's able to be removed, and smaller platens are able to be put in its place in case you're doing smaller garments or other products. So these are the components of the heat press. And why can't I go to the next slide? There we go. Okay. Now the warranty and tech support is something that most shoppers of a heat press miss when you are ready to purchase a heat press. It's something that's overlooked. You want to make sure that the warranty that you're getting with the heat press is a quality warranty. You want to make sure that it at least has that lifetime warranty on the heating element, because it is the most important part of that heat press. It's making sure that you have even heat over the entire platen. Some of the other parts that you may want to look into is the circuit board, the wiring, the framework. All of this, you want at least a 1-year warranty on those parts. And also in your warranty, hopefully you get a trained, knowledgeable tech staff that you're able to call just in case something does happen and you need a quick question. Can you just pick up the phone and call the tech support specialist and be able to understand them? Are they within the United States? That's also very, very important. And I wanted to make note that if I highly don't recommend this, but if you are purchasing a heat press off of an auction site or from a second party, those warranties are void then. Usually when you're going into a third party, warranties do not carry over to that additional purchase. So it's important to get something from a trustworthy, from the manufacturer, from a company that is distributing the heat presses, so you can make sure that you get that full warranty. Because if and also with machines that are out of the country, that you're purchasing out of the country, say from China or something like that, it's going to be hard to find those parts and pieces to replace and to get fixed on your heat press. So very important with the tech and warranty support. Okay, now that we know a little bit about how the heat presses work, let's see how they actually make a difference in pressing transfers. And then we'll go in and watch some videos and see how transfers are actually applied. Now, some of the features that we discussed before that are carry over into pressing transfers is an accurate time readout. You want to make sure that the time readout is, counting down accurately. Transfers do only apply, say for 3 to 5 seconds or for 10 seconds. So they apply very, very quickly. So we want to make sure that we have an accurate time readout so we know when that, transfer is done pressing. We also want accurate temperature. Again, the most important part, we want to make sure that we are reading the surface temperature of the heat press and make sure that that temperature is accurate to the instructions that are given with the different transfers. Again, no cold spots. If you happen to have a cold spot, say on your design or in your heat press, but you notice part of the design isn't applying well, you may have a cold spot. And this will, keep carrying on over every single shirt that you press. In that same area, you may have a cold spot, so it may not apply well. So you're going to need no cold spots in your heat press. Again, a flat surface to make sure the garment is laying flat so we have even pressure, and an adequate amount of pressure. So we want to make sure that the pressure readouts or the pressure settings, you're getting a correct pressure. So we want to make sure that that ink bonds to the fabrics of the fibers of the fabric. Some of the advantages of using heat transfers. One is they can apply to a lot of different things. There's a bunch of different types of transfers that will apply to different garments. So you can do t-shirts, cotton, polyester, blends of cotton and polyester, hoodies, which is very popular with students in high schools. You can do sweatpants, and you can put designs on sleeves and jackets. You can also do team uniforms with names and numbers. There's a whole lot of stuff that you can do with transfers. And say this design that you see on the slide here, that Palisades track, if you wanted to use that exact same transfer and apply it to a hoodie, or if you wanted to apply it to a mouse pad, you can go ahead and do that. You don't have to actually get a entire minimum. Say, you need to get 20 mouse pads. Just, if you just need one of those designs. If you have a stack of that design on transfer paper, you can apply it to a bunch of different stuff. You don't have to stick it to, just t-shirts. You can also print on demand, and this adds profit to your business. You're actually able to have a stack of transfers, and if somebody comes in and needs, needs one more, or they want it on a hoodie instead of a t-shirt, you're able to do that with them just standing in your shop. You can do it in a few seconds. So you can print on demand, and especially with names and numbers too. If somebody comes in and wants their name on a shirt, you're able to do that with your heat press. Whereas if you went to a screen printer, you'd have to, wait the minimum of, 2 weeks or so to get that shirt back. So you can print on demand for those profits. You're not wasting inventory with transfers. So you're not waiting for a stack of shirts that already have that design on it to sell. You can actually print on t-shirts or hoodies as the order comes in. So there's no wasted inventory. And also with the heat press, you're able to travel to events, which is really nice. You're able to take your heat press, because they don't weigh very much, to events. All you need is an electrical outlet to be able to plug that heat press in. So you're able to take them to events. They're lightweight. You can print on demand, take them to tournaments and festivals and that sort of thing. So transfers, you can do a lot of different stuff with the transfers. Now, some of the questions that you want to ask before you start choosing a heat press is, what type of materials are you going to be printing on? If you're printing on t-shirts and uniforms, a clam press or a swinger or a draw press will work perfectly for you. If you're using caps, however, you will need a cap press. So it's important to know which way your business is planning on going. If you're doing mugs and that sort of thing, it requires a different heat press. If you're doing infant clothing, they have smaller heat presses, say like a 6x6 heat press, but you can also get those interchangeable platens if you're also doing adult t-shirts and that sort of thing. So what type of materials are you going to be adding to your business? Also, why did you decide to purchase a heat press? If you are, just getting started in a decorating business like some of you are, a more inexpensive heat press may suit you well. It doesn't have all of the features as some of the more expensive presses do, but if you're doing smaller runs and just doing it as a hobby or just getting started, a more inexpensive press may be perfect for you. Or if you're expanding a business or replacing an old heat press, you can upgrade to a more industrial heat press like a swinger or an air swinger, or if you need a backup press. You know, why did you decide to purchase the heat press? It's an important question. And also, what's your budget? There's different types of heat presses that's going to suit your needs on different budgets. Our suggestion, and the suggestion that we get from a lot of our customers that they pass on to other people in the business, is to get the best press and the largest heat press that you can afford. This is the most important aspect of using your transfers and in your business. So you want to make sure that you have a quality heat press and one large enough that you know, that you're going to be able to do the products that you want to do. Because basically all t-shirts are made the same. A t-shirt is a t-shirt, and the quality of the transfer isn't going to matter unless your press is applying it correctly. So it's very important that you get a press that you can afford, and the best press that you can afford. Okay. Now, Hotronix heat presses. Transfer Express recommends using Hotronix heat presses because they are the most durable heat presses, and they have actually changed over time with the transfers. And I don't know, Mel, you talk about this a lot, and how, you know, heat transfers have changed over the years, and you know, and they've gotten a lot better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, some of these heat presses may, you know, sort of look like they're still stuck in the 80s, whereas Hotronix has, you know, moved up with the times, and they've actually, you know, made their heat presses a lot more technologically advanced, I should say.
Yeah, but I will say that I do have transfers back from '89 and '86. And the shirt has holes in them and they're worn out, but the transfers absolutely look fantastic.
Yeah.
And all has to do with the way you heat apply these, and I'm sure you're going to get into that a little bit later. So.
Definitely. I'll show some videos of that. Okay, and when we're looking at heat presses, and if you've looked at heat presses before, there's a whole lot of stuff in the quality and the features of the heat presses that, to be honest with you, when I first started, looked like a foreign language to me. I had no idea what some of this stuff meant. So I thought it was, you know, quite important that I go over some of these features so you know exactly what they mean, and you know, have a better idea of why they're there and how they can help you. So the first one here, it says a platinum RTD heat sensor, and completely confused on that when I first saw it. But what that means is the heat sensor in the Hotronix heat presses are set into the top platen. So they're actually set into the heating element, so you're getting the surface temperature heat. So that's an accurate temperature. Some heat presses out there still have a basically it looks like a turkey thermometer that you stick in a turkey, but it's going to be reading the inside temperature instead of the surface temperature that you need it to read. So you're going to want to make sure that, you know, the heat sensor that's in your heat press is reading the surface temperature and not just the inside of the press, which may range in degrees there. Also, the temperature range between 200 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit, very important if you're doing different types of transfers, because all different types of transfers have different time, temperature, and pressure necessities. So you're going to need a heat press that has a wide range of temperatures that you can set it to. The heat presses, all Hotronix heat presses are available in 110 volt or 220 volt. You know, mostly if you're using them in your home or in a small shop, 110 would be perfect, but you also have that option of getting a 220 volt. This next one was very confusing to me. It was just a bunch of letters at first, but now that I know what it means, it's very important. UL, ULC, CE, and ROHS approved means that it's approved for consumer safety. From the United States, Canada, and Europe. So it is consumer safety approved for all of these countries, and the ROHS approved means that it doesn't have those harmful chemicals in the manufacturing process of the machine, so it's not going to, you know, harm you in any way. So very, very important that that it has been approved for consumer safety. All of the Hotronix machines are made in the U.S., so you can, you know, guarantee that you are speaking with somebody, within the U.S. if you need technical support. They're based out of Pennsylvania, so the shipping times are going to be very quick also. The quick change lower platen, as I had explained, is you're able to take that bottom platen off and replace it with any smaller platens in case you're doing smaller clothing. The cast-in tubular heating element every 2 inches, very, very important. Hotronix guarantees in all of their heat presses, they're guaranteed no cold spots. So every 2 inches is, not a new coil, but it winds itself back and forth throughout the heating element, and those are spaced 2 inches apart. So the guaranteed no cold spots. Also, that top platen is really thick. It's 3/4 of an inch thick. It's Teflon coated, which makes for that easy cleaning. But the 3/4 inch thick, it makes sure that as you're pressing your garments, the heat isn't going to be escaping a lot faster. So you're going to maintain the temperature on your heat press. The silicone bottom pad is nice and thick too, so it's not going to wear down. And also it has a scratch-resistant powder coat finish on the framework of the heat press. So if it accidentally bumps into something as you're carrying it to an event or something like that, you're not going to see any scratches on it, so it's going to look nice and new. And with all Hotronix heat presses, again, lifetime warranty on the heating element, free lifetime technical support, and then each press has a specific type of a specific warranty with them, whether it be 5-year warranty, 1-year warranty, but I'll get into that a little bit more closely when we talk about the specific presses. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the Max Press. Now the Max Press is great if you're on a smaller budget. It's a little bit less of a price point there, but it's great if you're doing small jobs, if you're using it as a backup press. It is made by Hotronix, and it's a manual press, so it does require you to close the platen and also open it. It comes in 3 sizes here, an 11 by 15, a 15 by 15, and a 16 by 20. And as you can see over there on the side, it says that we recommend a 15 by 15 or larger if you're using transfers from Transfer Express. And that's because our sheet size for our transfers is 11 1/4 by 14. So, you don't want to go too much smaller or else you're running out of room, for that transfer sheet. So 15 by 15 is going to be the largest that we the smallest that we recommend, unless you're doing something like children's clothing or infant clothing or something of that nature, where 11 by 15 might be large enough for you. So, all right, let's actually take a look at a video of the Max Press being used. Okay. Okay, so this is the Max Press. As you can see, it has sturdy framework. It's made with not a lot of welds. It was laser cut, so there's not a lot of welds that are going to break down over time after repeated uses. The top platen has the heating element built inside, and that's coiled back and forth. It's 2 inches apart, so you're going to get no cold spots. It also has a floating platen. That top platen wiggles a little bit there. That's going to give you even pressure. And it's also Teflon coated so that it, very, very easy cleaning. That bottom platen that I'm pointing to there is made of silicone, and it's also interchangeable. And there's an example of one of the interchangeable platens. The control panel on here, using 3 buttons, it's really easy to set, just like setting your alarm clock. You set the temperature and the time to the directions, and then there is the pressure adjustment. It's set over the center, so we're getting even pressure, and it's a manual lockdown, so I manually lock that down. It's got a magnet that holds down the heat press, and then it manually releases. It's really easy to do just with one hand, just to manually release those. Okay, we are applying a transfer using a 100% cotton t-shirt. Again, you can use 100% cotton, 50-50, 100% polyester. Any of those would work great with screen printed transfers. So see how easy it is. Just with one hand you can lift that handle up. This is an example of a transfer. You can't see all those colors under there, but you'll see it right as soon as it's pressed and the paper is peeled away. Go ahead and lock that down. And this transfer only takes 3 seconds. So imagine how many shirts you can do with a transfer only applying for 3 seconds. Paper is pulled away while it's still hot, and you have your heat or your transfer pressed onto your shirt. So really, really easy. Very easy to do. Okay, where were we? Okay, so with the Max Press there, you get that lifetime warranty on the heating element, a 1-year warranty on the components and the labor. You also get that free lifetime technical support that's inside the U.S. So a great press if you're just getting started. It's at a low price point, and also great for a backup press if you're looking to add a press to your business. Okay. The Auto Clam is one of the more popular presses, and that's because, number one, it has space saving. As you can see, the press only takes up this much room, and we'll see when we get to the swinger. The swinger takes up a little bit more space, but the Clam you can just throw in a corner of your shop, or if you don't have a lot of room, if you're working out of an apartment or something like that, it's going to be perfect. So here's the Clam, and let's go to a video. Actually, it comes in an 11 by 15, a 16 by 20, and a 16 by 16. The 16 by 16 here is going to be the the smallest that we would recommend for transfers. So let's see a video on this. How are these videos coming across, Mel? All right?
Oh yeah, very clear.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is the Auto Clam. As you can see, still, space saving. The control panel is just like the one on the Max Press that we saw, so it has the temperature and time controls. However, the Hotronix Auto Clam has a dual timer, so you're actually able to set 2 separate times, one for your pre-press, which we always do, making sure that we get moisture and wrinkles out of the fabric, and a second press for the actual application time of the transfer. So I'm showing that there. You get 4 seconds for a pre-press and 5 seconds for applying the transfer. It also has, where that red number is, a digital pressure readout, and that's very, very useful if you have a couple people going to be doing pressing. It actually is going to show you what the pressure is from person to person, so we're not just going to be basing that on just the feel of how much pressure we're applying. And here I'm showing you it's a manual lockdown but an automatic release. As you can see, it just pops right open on its own. The top platen here has that same coiled effect with the heating element, so it goes back and forth, so you're guaranteed no cold spots. It has that floating platen that wiggles for even pressure. And also the bottom platen there is made of silicone, and it's also interchangeable. So if you're doing smaller garments, the interchangeable platens are great. All right, let's fast forward here to actually applying a transfer. The transfers that we used here are screen printed, but they're using a design from our Easy Prints idea book. And the idea book has just hundreds of customizable design ideas that if your customers don't have their own artwork, they can flip through the book and choose a design and just let you know what you want it to say and what you want us to replace the clip arts in there and the type styles. It's all customizable. This transfer that we're applying here is goof-proof. Basically, like its name says, it's very, very easy to apply. It doesn't take much to mess it up, and it applies for 365 degrees for 4 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. So we're setting it for a 4-second pre-press and a 5-second actual application time. A lot of people ask, how do we align? As you can see there, I'm using 4 fingers down from the neck to where I'm placing the transfers, just as a guideline. See that automatic open? You don't have to do any effort to automatically open that press. And then there's the transfer, and I'm going to show you how to press a sleeve too and how easy it is. I use just the natural fold of the sleeve, just like as it would be laying flat. And I take that, actually it needs to be pre-pressed first. Make sure we always pre-press. And I'm going to be applying this more vertical design here. It says volleyball. And what we do is we just place that as close to that seam as possible and it applies again just for 5 seconds. So very, very easy to do. We have that digital countdown timer that counts down each second, and then it gives us a 3-second beep letting us know, hey, the time is almost done, to give you a warning, and then that automatically pops up. So that's easy to apply a front and a sleeve design. Okay. The Hotronix Auto Clam has that lifetime warranty on the heating element, a 5-year warranty on the framework, which again is laser cut, minimal weld, so it's not going to wear down, a 2-year warranty on the circuit board, and a 1-year warranty on all parts and labor. So that's a great warranty for a heat press at this price point. Okay, let's move on to the swinger and draw. This is actually the most popular heat press, the swinger here, and that is because when this swings out to the side here, this moves 180 degrees all the way out to the side, you're actually working under a heat-free work zone. So you're not working underneath that top plan, which at 365 degrees is pretty hot. You don't want to be touching that. So it gives you a little bit more safety in that area. The draw press, very similar. Everything is basically the same between the swinger and the draw press, except with the draw press, just like a drawer, it pulls out in front of you. So you're not going to need that table space off to the side, but you will need a little bit of space outwards. So that's the draw press. And then we also have an air swinger. And the air swinger is fully automatic lockdown, automatic release. It's a swinger, so you're working under a heat-free work zone. And the air swinger is a great press, great press if you have the budget for it. So let's see a video of the swinger. Okay. Now that heat-free work zone is the most important, most popular part of it, I should say. It has, instead of the 3-button controls that the Auto Clam has, it has this keypad here that you just push the buttons of the temperature that you need. Very easy. It has a digital display up here at the top that's going to tell you your temperature and time. Manual lockdown, manual release, and notice how it swings open to the side easily. Let's see here. I'm going to swing that off to the side, and we're going to apply a name and a number to the back of a t-shirt. This is a black t-shirt, so as you can see, our transfers are going to be able to go on lights and dark garments. You can be doing this on a jersey just as easily. A lot of little league teams still use t-shirts, but if you're working more of a high school baseball team or a soccer team or something like that, you can be doing jerseys on here just as easily. So we pre-press the garment, and here is a pre-spaced player name. So if you have all the list of player names, you can send that over to us, and we'll create these strips that are screen printed. So it's going to give you that same quality and durability. We have those numbers here, very easy to align. We just align those there at the bottom. And the name right on top, they'll be perfectly spaced. And they only apply for 4 seconds. So really fast to be able to do team uniforms. Again, it's a manual release, so we just lift that up and push that over to the side, and then just peel those off while they're still hot. Then you have a name and a 1-color number. You can also do 2-color numbers, and those would be 2 colors on that same sheet. So it's only 1 application though, and you're getting 2 colors out of that. So that is the swinger and the draw press. And next, this is a great press. This is one of the newer presses from Hotronix. It's called the Hotronix Fusion. And what this press is it mixes the clam, the swinger, and the draw press all in one. It swings and draws, so you can choose which one you'd rather go. If it's easier to use the draw press for specific types of garments versus using the swinger, you have the option of doing both. It has really easy threadability, and I'll show that in a couple seconds here with a video, because a few people may not know what that threadability or threading a garment actually means. It's also a really, really heavy and durable press. As you can see, it's very space looking, and it looks a really nice press. The control features on it, it's the first touch screen on heat presses. It has a live digital pressure readout, just like that auto clam that we saw. It has dual time settings, just like that auto clam. Unlimited preset programs, which means that if you're using a bunch of different types of transfers and you don't want to keep going back to the instruction sheets, you can preset all of those instructions, the time, temperature, and pressure, into the press. So it's always saved in there, so you don't have to keep going back to your instruction sheets. It has an auto on-off setting. It has a multi-level password setting. So if you're a business owner, if you're the owner of the company, you can set the machine on a password so it's not being used without you knowing about it. And also it has a 4-hour sleep mode, so it'll go to sleep and not use as much energy when you're not using it. And also has a production cycle counter, so you know exactly how many presses that it has done during the day. So let's take a quick look. I'll just show you a quick video of the heat press, the Fusion. And this video is on our website in case you're interested. Under heat presses and under the Hotronix Fusion, you'll see the video. So this is the Fusion here. And once it gets to the side here, you see this horseshoe design underneath here. And that's what makes for that easy threadability, and we'll see that here in a second. So this is the 16 by 20. It's a large heat platen. And Mel, you said that you haven't seen this press yet, you know,
I
up
have
close
not,
and personal.
but it's
Yeah.
sweet though, what I've seen in the videos. Really nice.
Yep. So what we're going to see here is that dual function. It has the swinger mode, which it just takes one little button, as you're seeing there, just to turn, and it swings off to the side. So you have your swinger. And this is what we mean by threadability. We got a team jersey here, and you open that up, and it's dressing it just like you would, you know, put a shirt over a child's head. You just put that right over there. So then, just in case you have buttons or seams on the opposite side, you're not pressing over those. So this is that in action. It has that countdown on the touch screen there that lets you know when it's done, and you manually release it. So make sure you have that signal that lets you know that the time is done. So we have the swinger mode, and then we also have that draw press mode, which is great. You're able to pull that out just like a drawer, and this is what that Hotronix draw press would do also. Just pulls out just straight in front of you. Again, threading that on the garment. And the touch screen. This is the best part of it. It has everything is touch screen. The presets on there, the temperature and time controls are all touch screen. You won't see this on any other heat press. It also has a live pressure readout here, which the swinger and draw does not have. You can check the pressure on the swinger and draw, but it doesn't give you that live readout. And there you can see where the password goes. So yeah, this is the Hotronix Fusion, a great press, really, really easy to use, and gives you both the swinger and draw option as well as the dual time settings, the touch screen. So this is really a great press. We luckily got to use it at the Atlantic City trade show. We got to use it for pressing some samples, and you know, a lot of people were very, very impressed by it.
Oh, I'll bet they were. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Mel, we have another poll. So if we can go ahead and do that now.
Okay. All right, the next question is, what feature do you find most important in a new press? And I'll go ahead and launch that. And if you would, just go ahead and vote. And we'll wait about another 10 seconds. Usually we give them yes or no type questions, so now you have to think about this one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a little
more in
more
depth.
seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it, and I'll share the results with everybody. Again, the question was, what feature do you find most important in the new press? Digital settings, 31%. Auto open feature, 28%. Yeah, that's what I like. Heat-free work area, 22%. Space-saving design, 6%. And price, 13%.
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. A little bit of mix of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of mixed area on that one. Okay, we're back.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of, okay. You know, with the different heat presses, you definitely have your choice of, you know, options and which feature is more important to you and which is going to work best for your business. So,
yeah,
a lot of options out there with Hotronix.
The customers who have seen the video on this Fusion like it because of the openness underneath there, where they can thread it on a garment on there, especially if you're doing jerseys. And I was at a customer's the other day, and by the way, they had Transfer Express's website up, and they said they leave it up most of the day because what they do when they get orders for uniforms, they automatically order the names and numbers automatically. So they leave it up most of the day. But what they like about it is because they always use a pillow, and we know transfers and pillows don't really mix real well. But this one
not
here,
at all.
not at all, really. And I shouldn't say that they do that then, because they still do. But now they can thread that on there, and they like that idea of doing that. So I told them over and over again, do not use a pillow. But they you know, you can only tell them so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you're going to do what you're going to do.
They're going to do what they're going to do, right? Yeah. But when they saw this here, now you can thread that on there. You don't have to have a even the print perfect pad either. So you can just thread that right on. So anyway, they were quite excited about that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this press too. It's just everything all bundled into one, and the just advanced technology of it, having that touch screen and having unlimited preset programs. You know, it's a great press coming out now. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about the heat presses, on the heat press end, you can start profiting from using your heat press and transfers. Mainly with transfers, it's best to use groups of 5 or more. The average group is usually around 20, so usually in that bracket there of 20 people or more. Schools, and with schools you're going to be doing a lot of t-shirts and hoodies, which is perfect for the heat press, and it's going to give you a lower price point other than embroidery or screen printing. So you have that option of doing screen printed transfers with a heat press. You're able to do a faster turnaround. You're able to use the same design on different types of garments like t-shirts and hoodies and bags and towels. So it's definitely a wide range of things that you can do for the school market. You can also get customers at churches. A lot of churches, have groups and have tours and all that kind of stuff that they need t-shirts for. Recreation leagues, it's perfect for using transfers. Adult sports teams and just a lot of people have recreation volleyball teams or that sort of thing, so transfers are perfect for them. Businesses also, you can do polos for restaurants, or construction workers are one of the biggest customers or designs that we see coming through here is for construction or landscaping. So I mean, if you just drive down your street, the amount of people that could be your potential customers is unbelievable. Everybody wants t-shirts with their company name on it or their school name on it and school mascot. So a lot of options out there. So I threw together a costing of what a transfer and a t-shirt may cost, and also what you could potentially be making as a profit off of these shirts. And again, this is just an example. So there are obviously maybe additional costs involved or less costs involved depending on your area and what you need to do to get these jobs completed. But just as an example, your t-shirt cost, and this is just a general t-shirt, usually is about $2 a piece. The transfers, and I quoted a one-color transfer like you see there for 25 pieces. And the reason why I did this is because say you have a group of 20 people, and you better believe that one person is going to come back and say, I need another shirt, or we just added somebody to our baseball team, I need another one. And if you bump up the number of pieces that you use, you will be able to print something for them on demand and make sure that they get that shirt that they need. Otherwise, if you're going to a screen printer or somebody else that is completing your orders for you, if you're outsourcing them, then you're going to have to fulfill another minimum order. You can't just go back for just one. So transfers are a great option for that standpoint, is that you can just do a couple quick ones on demand if they come back for you and say, I just need one more, I just need two more. So I did quote this out for 25 pieces. It's also nice just to have them on hand, use one as a sample, to hang in your store or to take with you to show customers when you're going out for a sales pitch. So I did quote out for 25 pieces. But at 25 pieces of a one color, say that design there is $2.40 a piece. And that's for a full-size transfer. Now we add those two together along with any additional costs, and costs including shipping of the t-shirt, shipping of the transfers, electricity that your heat press is using, the time of you applying these, which to be honest with you, with 20 shirts you can do that in less than 30 minutes. So very, very fast application time. So we're looking at about $5 a shirt. So in turn, with 20 people in the group, the cost to you is about $100. So we're looking at, selling those for about $10 to $15 a piece, which is a cost that a lot of schools are able to sell those at, if not more. A lot of people will pay for their school name, their school mascot on a shirt. So you could be making, total cost $200, $300, but your profit, for 30 minutes of application time, you could be making $100, $200, for that 30 minutes of application time, which is, I'd go for that. I wouldn't mind making $100 in 30 minutes. So, you can definitely profit from using transfers. And again, this was just an example just to show you, that it is possible to profit with using transfers. And, yeah, so, okay.
By the way, that
Anything
customer,
you'd like to add?
Yeah, you were talking about that customer that I visited the other day. In April,
oh, really?
Yeah, in April, they did over $30,000 in team business.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he was so busy. Then the other day I went by and he did an additional $8,000. So that's a lot of. And there's only 3 people.
Using transfers?
He uses transfers for the names and numbers.
Okay.
He has a screen printing equipment. It's a 10-station 8-color. Fully automatic.
Yeah, and a lot of our customers are screen printers and embroiderers. So
yeah, he paid $100,000.
Side job, or
yeah, he paid $100,000 for that piece of equipment. He said he's going to use it. So,
yeah, he's going to use it.
So he does a lot of the logos for that, and then he'll do the names and numbers with Transfer Express.
Yeah.
But he's been doing it now for 12 years. Yeah, but 12 years now he's been doing that. But yeah, with the economy the way it's been for the the last year and then this year, just him being swamped like that. And there's only 3 people in the. So he's got 3 Hotronix presses running all the time. So,
wow.
Yeah, so he was
making money.
Yeah, making money. He's doing well.
Nice. Very good. Okay, so now we can begin selling. With any purchase of a heat press through Transfer Express, we do offer you a free marketing kit, and this marketing kit is great. It's got a lot of tools and a lot of selling pieces that you can use for your customers to show them all their options for printing. Some of these useful tools you can use as displays or ordering tools. We have our idea book, which is, I'll show right here. This is the idea book here. It would come personalized with your company name on the front. It has hundreds and hundreds of design ideas inside that if your customers don't have their own artwork, they can flip through there. There's a lot of different ideas for sports teams, for baseball, soccer, volleyball, a lot of different ideas for schools, for work. If a landscaper comes to you but they don't have their own logo or their own design, they can flip through that book and put their name in place of the text and change out any clip arts that they want. You just let us know whatever needs to be changed. So you get the idea book there. You also get another important part of the whole ordering process is the color selector. And the color selector is all of our stock ink colors that we have in stock. They are printed using the transfers. So these are the exact colors that you would get if you were to order a transfer of, say, with a royal blue. Now everybody's royal blue is different. One school's royal blue is going to be different from another. So you want to make sure that you're getting the color that they're requesting. And it looks just like that too. So if you go onto the computer and look at our color selection, the colors are going to vary from computer to computer. So you're actually not seeing the actual representation of the colors that we offer. So the color selector is a great tool. You also get display transfers here. And these display transfers are great if you just want to practice, if you want to create in-store displays or a portfolio for you to take with you on a sales trip if you're going to go pitch to a school. It's great to have these displays available so your customers can see and feel what your work is going to look like. And the feeling part is the best because if you go to order something and you doesn't feel the way that you wanted it to, you get quite disappointed. So it's a great idea to have actual physical samples of this of the transfers on hand with you. You also get a poster back here. Poster is a full-size poster. It has the Easy Prints website on it, and Easy Prints is a generic website that you can send your customers to. It has no mention of Transfer Express or stalls. They can't order off of that website. They have no information on that website other than seeing the layouts that are in the idea book and the clip art and the type style. So anything design oriented they can see on that website, but they're not able to see anything that says Transfer Express or stalls or any of that information. So a great generic website that you can send your customers to. You also get a $10 off coupon that goes onto your next order. So that will just be put onto a credit onto your account, but it's nice just to have something to get started with. You also get a retail price list, and this is our example of what you should be charging your customers for the artwork on the garment. It doesn't include the cost of the shirt or any of those additional costs, but it's a little bit easier to break down the cost of the design, whether it be a one-color, two-color, and then based on the quantity that your customer is ordering. So a little bit easier just to reference. You also get a black and white version of the idea book, and that is great if you want to just give it to the school or a good customer just to take home with them if they wanted to flip through the book and see their options for designs. So a lot of good stuff going on in the marketing kit, great for displays and for ordering. And again, if you do purchase a heat press, that does come free. Otherwise, you can purchase one on the Transfer Express website. Okay, so that actually, we are coming up on the conclusion here. So our phone number is there in case you have any questions. We have over 20 dealer services reps that are ready to answer your questions. They're very, very helpful. Or you can email us at that info@transferexpress.com. We also have a blog on our website. Up at the top, you'll see a link to our blog. A lot of useful information and tips and new products and new design offerings. We're always posting new stuff on there every week. So you want to check out our blog. And we also have these videos and the webinars on the website too. So if you wanted to see any past webinars that we've done, you can visit our videos and webinar page and see that. And also trade shows. We're always at trade shows. So if you want to stop by our booth, if you're ever at a show that we're at, please feel free to stop by and say hi. I've been to several this year and going to more, so please stop by and say hi to us. All right. And if you'd like a PDF of the webinar, you can go to the transferexpress.com/webinar thanks, and you'll get a PDF of the webinar too. So that's all.
Okay, excellent.
And Mel, if you have any questions, I'm sure that there are tons of questions coming in.
There are tons and tons of questions. We are up on the hour. We're up on the hour.
Oh, okay.
But what I want to do is ask, I just picked out a few. And
Sure.
for those who have asked questions, and if we don't get to them today, you will probably by tomorrow, I would think. A staff member of Transfer Express will get back to you personally, send you an email on that. One of the questions, how heavy can the presses get?
Oh, that's a good one, especially since I mentioned that you can take them to events too. The presses, in terms of the Clam, the presses can range between 90 to 100 pounds. That's on the lighter side for the presses. So very easy to take to events. They can be just loaded into the back of your car. Shipping weight, 90 to 100 pounds. The Swinger and the Fusion. The Swinger, I believe, is what, 120? About 120, and then the Fusion can get up there to 150. So the Fusion is a very, very sturdy press. That one you're most likely just going to, where you put it, it's going to stay put.
Would be if I
moved around here. Yeah. But the Swinger, 120 pounds, they're easy to take out of the box if you're, if it's being shipped to your store. Very easy to take out of the box. It's all assembled and ready to go. All you have to do is stick the plug in and then stick it into the wall outlet, and you're ready to go. You can turn it on and start heating it up.
Alrighty. Another question: does the machine use a lot of electricity?
The machines are going to need a designated 20 amp circuit. So you're going to want to keep that on a, on a circuit all by itself. So if you're in an apartment or a commercial building that a couple people are on the same circuit, you're going to want to designate one circuit to the heat press because it does pull some electricity out of it. I don't know, Mel, if you have any experience with the electricity part of it.
Well, most people that depends if they're going to be using it, 3 hours a day, or some people use it 8 hours a day, So, if you let it sit, but it does need its own circuit, so a 20 amp on that. So, but I guess the new one's going to go into a sleep mode. You said so.
Yeah, 4-hour sleep mode, which is nice. So if you're not using it, it definitely shuts itself off, so you're able to save some electricity on that.
Yeah, fantastic. Another question is, what kind of assembly is required when you get a machine?
Like I said, with when it comes to you, it's just already pre-assembled. Everything is together. All you need to do is the cord will be wrapped up, and secured with a twist tie, but that just plugs into the back of the press very easily, and then just plugs right into the wall outlet. So technically, no assembly needed.
Another question: are there any other pieces that I will need to get that add on to the price of the heat press? I guess like accessories with that.
Yeah, right. Like we said, pillows are no with heat transfers, but that's something if you were using a different type of material, say a film from a CAD cut film from Stahl's ID Direct or something like that, pillows will work. But for transfers, you don't need them. You technically don't need any other accessories for your heat press, except some other things that may make the job a little bit easier as you're going through the, if you're doing a lot of runs of shirts and that sort of thing. We do offer a slip cover for the bottom platen there, which makes putting the shirt on and off of the press a little bit easier. It's able to slide on there a little bit better. Also, the interchangeable platens. If you decide to go that route and you need a smaller platen on the bottom, if you're doing U-size hoodies, that you need to thread that thread the hoodie over the platen. It's a little bit easier if you do have a smaller platen. So there are some accessories, none that are needed with transfers, but definitely help the whole job experience go a little bit smoother. But in terms of just starting out, no, the only thing you need is the heat press, the shirt, and transfers.
Right, and a lot of people ask about cleaning the machine and keeping it nice and clean and everything else. So there may be a cleaning agent that's suggested by Hotronix that you might want to get to. Another question is: Are there people that can come to my house if needed to fix on the press?
I get that question all the time at shows, especially. Everyone's asking, will somebody come to my house if I have a problem? If you call Hotronix tech support, they're amazing. They're amazing technicians, and they swear 99% of the calls that come in with something that they had a question on, they can be handled over the phone. So there's usually no need for somebody to come into your shop to fix the to fix the machine if something does happen. But a phone call usually does it. They'll ship out a part. They'll walk you through it over the phone. Great tech support.
Okay. Unless it's Hawaii, then if they send me a ticket, I'll go.
Yeah.
One more. I know we're way over time here. One more. Can I just use my home iron on the transfers like I do with transfers that I get from the store?
Oh yeah, you're not going to need to be using a home iron. You're not gonna get proper results using a home iron that you would with a heat press. And technically, our transfers are not going to be able to apply using a home iron. You need that whole combination of time, temperature, and pressure controls, having accurate time, temperature, and pressure. So no, I would not suggest even trying to use a home iron to use transfers.
Okay. That's all for the questions. There are some questions about the pillows. I know I opened up a can of worms when I mentioned that. But that customer using that.
It usually does. As soon as you mention that you can use pillows with transfer.
But when I was there, he uses pillows. I keep telling him not to, but he says I've been doing it for 12 years, and you're not going to change the way you want.
Some people are going to have success with it, and some people don't.
Well, he uses goof-proof, which he has an adhesive on there.
Yeah.
So.
As a general rule of thumb, we don't recommend even trying it, because if you do have application issues when you're using a pillow, we can't back that up. And say that the transfers are having a hard time applying because the pillows just are not they're not equal. Since it's a pillow, you need that firm pressure to be able to apply screen printed transfers. And with that pillow, you're getting a little bit more of an uneven pressure than that's needed. So we don't recommend using pillows at all.
Yeah, because you do need pressure with the transfers. Absolutely, to drive it into the material. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like a screen printer. When he pulls that squeegee, if he doesn't use any pressure at all, you can tell a screen printer who doesn't do that because it'll crack and start peeling and what have you after you wash it a few times. And same with transfers. You need that pressure. So when a screen
and again, if you wash those a couple times, it might start cracking.
Might start cracking. Yeah. So you do need that pressure. Like I say, I've had transfers on my shirts for many years, and of course I know how to apply them. So I've never had any issues. They look great. They look really good.
Yeah.
So. Okay, like I say, you got tons and tons of questions to answer.
Yeah,
so
I promise everybody will get an answer.
Yeah.
We're really good about getting back to everybody's questions. So you should be receiving an answer by tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. I had a great presentation. A lot of great information there, Stephanie.
Great.
Appreciate it.
I had fun.
All right. Well, that concludes our presentation for today, unless you have something else.
Nope, that's all I have. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and give us a call if you have any questions, or if you want to go ahead and get a heat press, and we'll get you started.
Okay. I'm going to leave this page up just for about another minute here, so people can write down your information. And that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.